In the waning dawn of January 21st, 1793, Paris held its breath beneath a leaden sky, the city air thick with the scent of snow and impending doom. The Place de la Révolution glittered harsh with ice beneath a guillotine séchadeau, a blade poised not simply to sever flesh, but to slice through centuries of crowned illusion. Louis XVI, once Sun King's heir in a world unwilling to surrender to twilight, appeared not as monarch but as man. His calm step reverberated through cobblestones, slick with frost, each footfall echoing a fallen regime's quiet symphony. Power, once divine right, now unraveled in whispers of blood. Mercy was the lie republics told themselves before revolution's blade fell. Cruelty was the truth etched into the scaffold's breath. He was born to marble halls echoing with dean's prayers and the rustle of silken infant destined to wear the weight of frostbitten crowns and gilded prisons. From Versailles' gilded cages to the trembling chambers of the Tuileries, Louis bore sovereignty not as blessing, but as burden. His lineage was the fulcrum balancing God's mandate and a people's wrath. Yet birthright became chain, each decree a link tightening around a nation thirsting for justice, draped in terror's garb. Power was no longer God's gift, but a ledger to be balanced in lead and ink. If you value the historical record, subscribe to Whispers of History. The ancestry of kingship was not merely birth, but myth, a divine script penned for obedience. Louis learned early that crown and body were public property, his gestures, symbols, inscribed in gold and expectation. Yet monarchy was ceasing to echo in the salons of nobles and priests. The old pillar-slaw tradition, faith fractured beneath Enlightenment's chill. His reign unfolded as spectacle and spectre, courts of Versailles gleaming with decay while Paris simmered beneath. Diplomacies danced like shadows on candlelight, each treaty a rivulet feeding crises vast as winter floods. Power's architecture remained rigid, but its stones cracked with rumor and revolution. Law, once the queen's fortress, transformed into tyrant's cage. The Ancien regime's codes, etched in parchment and royal seal, tottered under the weight of liberty's claim. Decrees became blunted daggers, courts the theatre of monarchy's fading echo. Louis faced not mere laws but the tumor of constitutional limits strangling divine right. The Assembly, a new emperor of public will, rewrote mandates with pen sharp as sword. Legislation no longer an edict but a weapon, dissecting sovereignty's body into fragments. Justice, once sovereign's emblem, devolved into martyrdom's script. How does crown survive law that betrays crown? Marriage and intimacy revealed power's fragile underpinning. Marie Antoinette's whispers trailed court halls like wafting perfumes, masking political schemes and personal exile. Their union, alliance, and albatross bore the weight of empire and scandal intertwined. Intimacy inverted love, choreographed by duty, affection eclipsed by accusations of decadence. Their bed was throne and trap, where private sorrow became public theatre. Marie, maligned as Austrian harlot, became emblem of monarchy's decay. Her motherhood questioned amidst rumors, whips. Love, once palace refuge, transformed into scandal's crucible. What binds throne more tightly, lineage or suspicion? Bureaucracy spun slow but relentless web beneath monarchy's ostentation. Royal clerks tallied debts mounting like winter moons. Money siphoned to fund Versailles' splendor while breadlines lengthened through France's winter. Tax ledgers groaned under peasantry's burden. Grain markets starved beneath gilded windows. Louis' signature inked warrants that could not soothe famine's roar. Administrators shuffled bribes, censored pamphlets, recorded royal decrees like dirges. Bureaucracy no longer shield but noose, cloaked in velvet and quill. Each petition lost in maze of offices justice, delayed until whispered resistance could be stamped away. When state becomes ledger, who audits liberty? Economy bled as gilded opulence collided with hunger's grim ledger. Versailles dazzled with silks and gold. Yet Paris markets whispered revolutions, beginning in grocers' cry for bread. Debts to foreign coffers grew like shadows over treasury's face as wars drained coin and morale. Nobles feasted as peasants starved. Financiers speculated on kingdom's fall. Fiscal policy became arithmetic of demise. Budgets balancing luxury against starvation, prosperity against revolt. Economic cracks split nation like fissures in frozen earth. How does empire thrive when currency buys silence but starves subjects? Religion, pillar of Onzian world, cracked beneath secular storms. The church's incense grew faint amid cries for reason. Priests whispered loyalty in shadows while revolutionaries lit fires of rational faith. Divine right questioned beside rights of man. Sacred sacraments eclipsed by secular edicts. Clergy divided, some clung to throne's memory, others aligned with new order's promise. Confessionals emptied as guillotines filled. Faith, one state's anchor, drifted between sanctity and sedition. What altar serves when gods abdicate for republic's rise? Slavery and unseen workers bound monarchy's grand tapestry in silent hands. Servants in palace kitchens witnessed whispered fears. Stable hands tended steeds fated for revolution's streets. Their labor invisible, yet vital threads, unnoticed in brocade of power. The disenfranchised murmured beneath velvet curtains, mapping survival amid privilege's decay. Their voices drowned beneath nobility's roar, yet pulse of empire beat in their toil. When empire fractures, does laborer's whisper become revolution's roar? Fear, artery of monarchy's failing heart, coursed through courts and commons alike. Secret police penned lists, informants shadowed whispers. Night couriers bore warrants. Prison cells echoed with unknown screams. Louis himself haunted halls, once vibrant, now silent with suspicions chill. Fear became administration, paranoia statecraft, each gaze a verdict, each silence a sentence. Terror no longer occasional but system, orchestration of obedience through dread's symphony. When fear governs, what melody survives? Spectacle, monarchy's last refuge, played beneath crimson banners and watchful eyes. Public processions masked fractures. Festival pomp disguised decay. Louis, emblem of old world's grandeur, paraded beneath jeers thin as winter frost. Crowds gathered, not in adoration, but armory of accusation whispers, traded beneath powdered wigs, suspicion hidden behind curtsies. Every gesture measured. Loyalty, performance, power, artifice. Spectacle became governance's mirage, smoke veiling slow collapse. When stage becomes scaffold, who remains actor? The system groaned toward collapse, each pillar splintering beneath revolution's weight. From marble halls to cobbled streets, absolutism's structure exhausted itself. The calm king stepped forth into history's blade, not as sovereign, but as symbol last breath before dark eternity. His final walk a procession, not of triumph, but of fate's inexorable calculus, where power's veneer peeled to reveal naked mortality. What remains when crown falls silent? What truth illuminates scaffold's shadow? Climax brewed in temple prisons, frost-rimmed gloom. Not blaze of steel, but calculated unraveling conventions, decree intoned by quills dipped in republican venom. Louis's trial scripted as theater of the people. Law mobilized absolute, charges enumerated from Varen's flight to armory raids. Evidence forged in committee shadows, forged letters, witness perjuries stamped as truth. The king's defense, mythic in simplicity, rang hollow against Girondin thunder. No sovereign kneels to subjects, divine right above vulgar tribunal. Verdict etched unanimous guilty as parchment, death sentence suspended in debate's chill calculus. Bureaucracy catalogued transcripts, flawless, commissioners' seals the scaffold's prelude. What begins as constitutional cage ends as republic's blade. The system's exhaustion ground relentless, pillars shearing in revolutionary cascade. Economy bled, terminal. Assignats devalued to ash, grain riots unchecked from Vendée to Lyon, royal debts weaponized as people's claim. Marriages, chains, strained, spectral lanternets, cell whispers separated by stone. Heirs, politic pawns in factional chess. Dauphins, capit baptism, mockery of lineage. Bureaucracy spun web, unyielding. Clerks logging every plea, warrants circulating Montagnard, desks like breath. Religion polarized pyre, priests divided refractory oaths, shattered altars, constitutional masses damning throne as sin. Fear administered isolation. Guards tripled in temple vaults, every cough, suspect conspiracy. Servitors, slavery's unseen vein, ferried broth through iron grills, silence lashed into complicity. Collapse came quiet, bureaucratic, symbolic, not mob's roar, but convention's midnight vote, Sanson family's axe honed in secret. January 20th's eve, Louis penned final letters by candle drip, forgiveness scripted. Legacies divided like estates. No army stormed. Ink sufficed ront, dispatched under seals, multiplying accusation. Antoinette's distant sobs unheard. Daffin's cradle, empty pawn. Law's theatre peaked. No appeal, only ritual procession, pre-dawn. Bureaucracy filed citizen capit under extinction. Precedents twisted, eternal. The king's calm, not defiance, but philosophy's stoic veil prayer, murmured, hair-cued for Blade's mercy. Aftermath rippled philosophical. Pillars realigned in blood steam. Paris exhaled, collective. Place de la Revolution cleared for tumbrils anew. Bureaucracy hummed, seamless. Regicide transcripts cross-indexed to terror's ledger. Assignats rebound on King's pole. Religion's sanctified schism to Christianizers. Raised altars, refractories, smuggled masses veiled. Economy whispered divido grim. Royal plate melted for coin. Versailles gardens plundered for fuel. Fear's protocol peaked. Informants tripled. Every noble's gaze suspect. Spectacle governed dawn. Crowds barred, yet rumors thrummed. Woodcuts hawked headless king by noon. Universal message pierced. Systems devour, anointed when fracture propagates unchecked. Louis's fall echoed. France's axiom, power S pillars from law S edict to spectacle. S roar sustain until seam splits edifice. Modern republics behold pattern, thrones yield to conventions. Yet bureaucracy endures, fear its quill eternal. Downfall deepened in tumbrel's sway. Cobblestones, slick leading, scaffolds chill. Sanson's blade gleamed dawn grey, drumroll drowning final words. French people, I die innocent. Head rolled into basket, hair queued, mocking mortality. Body carted anonymous, Madeleine lime pit, swallowing royal vein. The calm before collapse distilled in Louis's final procession crowds, clustered behind barricades. Eyes flickering between reverence and rage. The tumbrel's wheels ground steady against cobblestone's echo, horse hoofs ringing a funeral march unaccompanied by prayer. The king's gait was measured, no tremor betrayed the palace's stolen peace. His gaze cast forward, past whispered curses, narrow alleys packed with suspicion and sorrow. Power had departed his crown. Only man remained beneath powdered wig and fading silk. The blade loomed cold, indifferent sculpted for sacrifice, its shadow cutting through centuries' suspended breath. Cruelty, not spectacle, marked the end. What solace lies in final calm when history's knife gleams unyielding? Law's last flourish fired reluctant obedience. The convention's decree, inked with guillotine's shadow, sealed kingdom's fate. Commissioners marched with quills poised, executing verdict while public justice devolved into ritualized determination. Louis's defense, lucid yet doomed, confronted a tribunal that no longer bowed to divine right but to revolutionary zeal. Trial transcripts rows of charged names, each phrase a step toward silencer, testament to regime's exhaustion under Enlightenment's glare, Republic's iron fist. The stage set, the script unaltered, guilt presumed, mercy posthumous and perfunctory. Justice here was not law, but ledger executioner's census without appeal. How does sovereignty survive when court becomes execution chamber? Marriages unyielding bonds fractured beneath revolution's storm. Marie Antoinette, erstwhile queen, now cast as harlot and exile, bore burden, doubled a mother mocked, a sovereign scorned. Their union, alliance, once crystalline with diplomacy's promise, dissolved amid conspiracies and public vitriol. Intimacy transformed to theater of accusation. Motherhood twisted to symbol of national betrayal. The Dauphin, cradle orphaned by state's decree, became cipher of dynastic fallibility. Betrayals multiplied as courtiers whispered, presses hammered scandal's pulse. Bedchamber secrets traded for broadsheet headlines. Private grief bathed in public spectacle. What cost does love pay beneath guillotine's shadow? Bureaucracy lurked beneath monarchy's collapser, patient spider-weaving intricate webs of documentation, petition, and regulation. Royal accounts inked the prodigal expenditures of Versailles splendor. Tax ledgers recorded grim calculus of famine under gilded ceilings. Clerks churned warrants authorizing arrest, censorship, and confiscation, administrative sinews tightening noose around ancien regime's neck. Each signed decree, each sealed scroll bore witness to fatally fracturing system. Justice delayed, rights suspended, power inverted into submission's script. When state's machinery bureaucratizes its own undoing, what becomes of sovereignty's ghost? Economy writhed in agony as signet bills, once emblem of revolutionary promise, rendered worthless. Grain markets throttled by panic and hoarding. Famine's spectre haunted countryside and city alike. Versailles opulence contrasted bitterly against Parisian bread riots, noble excess bastioned by starving masses. Fiscal policies gambled on illusion. Debts ballooned like winter's frozen rivers threatening to burst their banks. Gold no longer bought loyalty but stoked revolt. Coin akin to tinder awaiting spark. How does empire endure when hunger buzzes louder than cannon? Religion fractured, severed upon enlightenment's sharp blade. Churches' incense extinguished by secular anthems. Altars razed, rites banned. Priests fragmented refractory loyalty against constitutional oath. Faith's bastions converted to theaters of ideological combat. Louis himself bore burden of divine right unraveling. Anointed king stripped of sanctuary, baptized in rejection. Confessionals hollow beneath echoing chants. Prayers displaced by secular proclamations. What God remains when throne abdicates heaven's mandate? Unseen hands sustained monarchies, final curtain servants, attendants, slaves bound within gilded shadows, eyes averted from scaffold's inevitability. Their labor, the silent mortar underpinning crumbling edifice palace kitchens, boiling with anticipation. Corridors, silent witnesses. Fortress, masonry absorbing, whispered farewells. Their complicity purchased with bread and threats. Their voicelessness the empire's last defense. When empire falls, do these ghosts remember or forget? Fear permeated every breath. Secret police lists expanded, informants multiplied. Every whisper analyzed as potential treason. Louis, once exalted, now spectre ensnared by paranoia's web. Guards kept vigil not merely on flesh but on psyche, each watch measured in suppressed dread and feigned calm. Fear institutionalized as governance, a symphony of suspicion played across Parisian narrowways. What fortress withstands when fear governs from within? Spectacle persisted, even in decap processions, masked decay with pomp. Royal appearances steeped in ritualized obedience beneath watchful eyes. Versailles, though hollowed, still echoed halls where courtiers drafted destinies, now printed in broadsheets and shouted upon streets. Louis's final steps, a procession not of power reclaimed but of mortality, embraced a king walking shadow of crown, audience to his own denouement. When governance becomes theatre of death, who remains actor? The stage was set, the king's final act imminent. History did not pause. Breath held, suspended. His calm step toward brutal death echoed through annals. Power's final paradox, revealed in man's measured walk to scaffold's kiss. The era expired not in chaos, but in precise, silent severance. In his fall, the narrative of empire's fragility was carved in blood and silence. What mirrors reflect when kings fall quiet? Climax of exhaustion peaked in temples, vaulted chill. Not revolutionary blaze, but convention's midnight calculus decrees, intoned by quills, venom-dipped. Louis's trial scripted as people's theatre absolute. Law mobilized relentless. Charges from Varennes flight to armory raids, enumerated clinical. Philippe's like forgeries enshrined as gospel witness perjuries stamped truth. King's defense mythic yet hollow against Montagnard thunder. No sovereign kneels to subjects, he proclaimed. Divine right above vulgar tribunal. Verdict unanimous as parchment guilty. Death suspended in Girondin debates frost. Bureaucracy catalogued transcripts, flawless. Commissioners' seals, scaffold, prelude, etched. What cage constitutional becomes republic's blade? Systems grinding ceased not in fury but inexorable, sheer. Pillars cascading revolutionary. Economy bled terminal. Assignats, ash devalued. Vendee grain riots unchecked to lion pyres. Royal debts, weaponized peoples, claim eternal. Marriage strained spectral Antoinette's cell whispers stone-barred. Dauphin's capit baptism mocking lineage politic. Heirs pawns in faction chessboard grim. Bureaucracy spun, unyielding. Clerks logging pleas vanishing. Warrants Montagna. Desks circulating breath-like. Religion polarized pyre. Refractory priests altar shattered. Constitutional masses damning, throne sin incarnate. Fear administered isolation, vault deep. Temple guards tripled. Cough logged conspiracy's breath. Slavery's unseen vein ferried broth grills through. Silence birch lashed complicity. Collapse unfolded quiet, bureaucratic, symbolic. No mob roar, but Sanson axe, honed secret. January 20th Eve. Lewis's candle drip letters, scripting forgiveness. Legacies, a state, divided like forfeit plate. No army breached. Ink dispatched warrant seals, multiplied accusation. Antoinette's sobs, distant unheeded, Darfing cradle, pawn empty. Law's theatre crested, no appeal, ritual procession, pre-dawn scripted. Bureaucracy filed citizen capit, extinction under, precedents twisted eternal. Kings calm, stoic, veil not, defiance prayer, murmured, hair cued, blade mercy, prepared. Scribes cross-referenced Varon's ghosts to fiscal ruin, straw mere footnote, scaffold cost. When enumeration unmakes divinity, what archive crowns oblivion? Aftermath rippled philosophical steamborn, pillars realigned bloods, calculus. Paris exhaled, collective place de la revolution, cleared tumbril ready. Bureaucracy humming, seamless. Regicide transcripts, terra ledger, cross-indexed, assignats, rebound, kings, poll, dividend. Religion sanctified schism, dechristianizers, altar raised, refractories, masses, smuggled, veiled. Economy whispered, grim harvest. Versailles plate, melted coin fresh. Gardens, plundered fuel for forgers. Fierce protocol, peaked informants tripled. Noble gaze suspect, eternal. Spectacle governed, Donbard crowds, rumors thrumming. Woodcuts hawked headless king, noon market gloom. Universal message pierced fractious veil. Systems devour anointed when scene propagates unchecked. Lewis's tumble echoed France's axiom power pillars, Lloydic to spectacle roar, sustained till edifice splits. Modern republics behold pattern, thrones yield conventions, bureaucracy endures, fear quill, eternal. Downfall deepened, tumbril sway, cobblestones, slick, scaffold leading. Sanson's blade, Dongre gleamed, drumroll, drowning final French people. I die, innocent, head basket trolled, coot hair mortality mocking. Body Madeline limepit, swallowed, royal vein anonymous. Servitors scrubbed tumbril splinters, rags ink histories, silent. Nobles tallied shifted oaths, convention debated Antoinette's turn. Bureaucracy audited blade cost against realm gain, quills unpausing. What echo lingers scream faded when pillars realign. Fear's administration's spectral aftermath hush, lingered. Republican web, contracting slow, spies gold-pensioned eyes, recusant spark, watchful. No Tudor-neck blade fell. Terra ledger balance flawless guards, disbanded mutual nod reprieve. Courier's midnight ceased, dispatches resolved filed wax dust gathering. Montagnards tallied allegiance shifts inward, Dauphin's court oaths demanding anew. Fear scaffold migrated succession. Sans-culottes popish phantom whispered, Commons martyr ghost dreamed obedient. Protocol perfected, endured rebellion stirred none, Pox Republicana vindicated. Whisper's throat died, trained well. Silence, empire coin purest. When dread authors peace, what tremor tests depth? Spectacle echoed morbid in broadsheets and ballads. Place de la Revolution, Esgore hawked woodcut stalls from Tuileries, gloom to Vendée. Markets, headless king, cood hair foam-flecked, tumbril sway, defying, drumroll drown. Taverns, thrummed Capet's lament. Fiddlers, wailing scaffold, prayer, amid sans-culotte cheers. Public festivals shifted theme. Actors as republic cleaving crowned serpent. Crowds volume measured obedience, roaring. Processions resumed under Robespierre. Tricolor banners, masking borders, now bridged blood price. Deputies noted every flinch revolutionary gaze, who applauded deepest, whose hush veiled doubt. Spectacle rebound nation, unison grim gold, recircuit from Versailles plate-funded triumphs anew. Bards hymned republican providence, strings concealing blade shadows eternal. Chests heaved collective encore, hearts computed, thrones remade. If applause buries anointed, what roar crowns the void? Religion shuddered, schismatic continental. Lewis's pole relic, Catholic law papal. Bowls beatified veins, severed unjust emigre. Priests, smuggling locks, powdered wig. Dechristianizers, hymned, justice, Geneva Co., constitutional clergy preaching harlot kings, fall heaven's axe. Pulpits divided France, Loire masses, whispered martyr grace, sane sermons, thundered royalist ploy. Sacraments, contraband, rosaries, smuggled, faith fire, fanned, scaffold steam. Cures, counselled veneration veiled. Hebetists plotted woodcuts, damning, cued hair mortality. Divine right fractured eternal. Reason's anvil claimed no king's eternity. Underground oratories flickered icon glow, republican edicts prescribing light. If gods divide post-blade, whose heaven inks ledger? Slavery's unseen, dispersed, sustained echo. Temple bondsfolk, scrubbing gore stains eternal, rags mopping corridors, warrants whispered final. Servitors ferried lead earned to Magdalen pit, hands steady, forbidden crucifixes hem smuggled. Parisian laundresses funded convention progresses, provincial fishers salting wakes noble feast. They polished robes piers, nascent tribunal, mended tricolour sashes, an equivalent absent, silence steadier bread purchased. Sanson's heirs whipped pages less, hierarchy endured seamless. Labour mortared terrors, stone, backs unnamed bearing republic's absorption. Power legacy rested murmurs faded, cracks time quill sealed. What ghosts witnessed realms remade sweatborn. Economy bloomed, crimson closure, French wool fleets unraided sailing. Lion merchants balancing pyre toll against assignat peace. Lewis's plate, recircuit, border garrisons dissolved. Estates auctioned loyalists, swelling convention veins. Taxes, crofters clod, unchanged, fed progresses grander. Subsidies, Vienna, choked forever. Merchants tallied profit kings forfeit Versailles. Gold, recut republican brows. Debt coin minting terror, pence. Power fiscal rope, relaxed taught. Lavish courts austere no more. Frugality, pageantry traded reborn. Tenants paid rents, new masters. Tithe, mortars, binding provinces. Gold shackle turned scepter. Extinction dividend, balanced. When treasury harvests heads, what balance redeems ledger? Bureaucracy hummed, triumphant, seamless. Committee public safety clerks, filing regicide transcripts, precedent. Cross-reference detained, acts eternal. Warrants circulated no more. Seals affixed terror pacts. Dauphin regency dissolved, mist-like auditors, tallied Louis costs realm gained straw, blade, drums, footnotes, dowry reclaimed. Scribes indexed Varon's ghosts, fiscal ruin, ink unerring, bridge crowns conjoined. No passion marred procession, enumeration sufficed. Petitions, relics, vanished, stacks. Denials, inertia stamped. Captives fade, bureaucracy crowns. If scrolls entomb fallen sovereigns, what archives anoint rising? Law's precedent, etched unyielding. Temples, theatre theorem. No divine immunity council quill, above attainder, trumps anointing blood. Deputies, tricolour silk, reluctant, became declaration rights, ghost reborn, third estate, freed-bound kings, vulgar Montagnards affixed seals, association oaths, precedents, regnant trials, pondering perpetual, court suspending armory doom, now catalogued poll, flawless. Edifice served, survival absolute, parchment shielding, succession spectral claim. Law judged sanctity, not stability kings, knelt ledgers. What theorem damns, divinity crowns, issue. Marriage's pillar realigned, spectral, Dauphin, wedding faction pom, proxy pomp absent, womb securing republican line, Louis ghost, forged. Antoinette's cell, Louis's pyre, annulled historyqual intimacies, twisted lesson. Unions, statecraft serve, souls not. Proposals nobles littered bait once. Realized Nordic alliance absent, heirs realm cipher settled. Deputies debated no more. Womb legacy capettes alone, bedchambers, tribunals dissolved. Religion intertwined blessing, papal veto, scaffold proof, silenced. Paradox endured, wed power, perish unwed. When vows birth terror, widows poll, what sacrament seals provinces? Fear's administration lingered spectral aftermath hushed republican web slow contracting. Spies gold pensioned eyes, recusant spark watchful. No blade royal neck fell more. Terror ledger, flawless, balanced. Guards mutual nod, reprieve, disbanded. Couriers midnight ceased, dispatches resolved, filed wax dust gathering. Girondins tallied allegiance shifts inward, convention oaths demanding anew. Fear scaffold, migrated succession. Sections popish phantom, whispered phobos, martyr ghost, dreamed, obedient. Protocol perfected, endured, rebellion stirred, none, terror vindicated. Whispers, throat died, trained well, silence, republicoin purist. When dread authors peace, tremor, tests what depth. Religion's cauldron bubbled terminal. Constitutional cures thundering from desecrated altars, Hebertistic Christianizers, raising reason temples where crosses once gleamed. Lewis's relics smuggled emigre shadows, powdered wiglocks, papal bulls, beatifying as martyrs grace unjust severe. Refractory priests whispered Latin absolutions, cellist damp. Republican edicts prescribed rosary contraband as sedition. Faith weaponized scaffold underground oratories, flickering icon glow veiled. Montagnard manifestos, damning capit harlot, heavens, purge preview. Divine right clashed reason's anvil. No anointed claims eternity under sansculot decree. Sacraments became treason's currency. Confessionals hollowed by guillotine's rhythm. Pulpits divided nation, eternal sane whispers, martyr vengeance, Loire thunders, royalist ploy. If God's decree division blade post, whose heaven led drinks, slavery's shadow sustained revolutionary mortar, temple servitors mopping tumbril splinters, dongor slick, rags absorbing histories, crimson ink, silent. Parisian laundresses ferried tricolor hems through convention grills. Hands calloused forbidden crucifixes, smuggled hems folded. Provincial bondsfolk funded robes Pierre progresses. Loire fishers salting noble wakes under assignat peace. They polished committee safety desks, mended deputies, sashes faction worn, silence birch or bread, purchased steadier. Sanson whipped page, lingering. Louis slipped coin absent, hierarchy endured unyielding. Labor mortared, terror's edifice, backs unnamed bearing, republic's fractures sealed. Power's end rested whispers, propagated, cracks time's quill veiled. What ghosts polish blade, severing chains theirs. Fear, as administration, coiled terminal. Tripled sections, pacing frost battlements, place revolution. Every cheer logged conspiracy's breath. Robespierre's, couriers, blind relayed. Dispatches, treason wax, sealed politico. Mercy starving sacraments. Warrant breach without. Deputies terror pact, nodded mutual. Guard the tribunal, guard thy neck. Whispers throat strangled. Couriers replies, bore none. Fear, inward migrated. Citizens self-wardens absolute. Republic's peace, pox terrorus. Fear, inscribed, successful. Guards watched changed lantern flicker, shadows tracing blade, spared none. When terror end authors curtain, applauds who? Spectacle governance scripted denouement. Execution private no mercy, but public sacrament absolute deputies summoned privacy. Scaffold draped tricolor place, revolution vaulted chill. Versailles progresses ceased. Now forum arena became, commissioner's audience divinities fall too. Louis progresses captivity through dazzled, no more frail icon paraded powdered frailty. Royalist hopes tears silent, measured. Stakes escalated in verse. Deputies noted flinch every wept. Who authentic handkerchief concealed triumph, whose spectacle nation bound morbid unison. Draining gold, no souls, but crowds volume, obedience measured. Rumors, harps, doom-tuned. Ballads previewed axe tavern gloom. Woodcuts hawked headless capits. Chests collective stilled. Hearts' legacies computed alone. If applause thrones birthed, silence buries what kings. Climax pillars converged January 21st dawn. Frost casements etching judgment runes. Leaden. Place revolution transformed scaffold. 10 feet square, straw, bloodthirst strewn. Tricolor drapes, torchlight swallowing. Louis coat brown, simple. Veiling executioner, red symbolic veins, blade pre-opened. Bureaucracy flourish, peaked. Convention warrant, clerk drone intoned. Crimes, Varon's ghost, to armory, raid, enumerated. Deputies arid robes, peers, silk, reluctant. Eyes, downcast, scripted. Law, theatre absolute. No appeal, ritual only. Religion, bastion, last. Prayer, murmured Latin whisper. Crucifix clutched, steel loomed as undressing ceremonial servitors dismissed. Shift revealing marked flesh axe mercy for guards averted ritual gaze. Fear grammar, perfect. Deputies marble still watched. Air incense iron, promised thick. What spectacle systems crowns exhaustion. Blade fell faltering. First strike neck severing, true scream absent, Crowd gasp, obedience measure. Head basket trolled, queued hair mortality, mocking, lips silent prayer, severed breath from assistant's body dragged tumbrel back, lime pit Madeline, swallowing royal vein anonymous. Bureaucracy catalogued clinical, head displayed brief, powdered scalp, shorn revealing age's truth. Body carted, unceremonious, jewels reclaimed ledger close for, economy sealed, plate melted, estates forfeit. Servitors, gore scrubbed warranty, under, rags, witness final. Law precedent etched. No crown council quill above. Fear bloodsteam dissipated. Religion sanctified martyr faction, or by. Marriage chains, snapped widower. Eternal heirs, convention pawn. When pillars flesh converge, edifice remains what? Aftermath, continental tremor stirred. Convention exhaled, unslain republic. Committee safety cleared tumbrils anew. Bureaucracy seamless hummed. Regicide cross, syndexed terror ledger 2. Assignats king's poll rebound. Religion, schism, sanctified. Do Christianizers, raised, refractories, smuggled, veiled. Pamphlets, Europe winged, Louis sanctity versus traitors, poll woodcuts, foaming lips, sold Vienna gloom. Fearweb vindicated. Robespierre unslain, spies, gold pensioned, servitors, dispersed, tales, crown, hush, silenced, money. Spectacle ballads echoed, taverns, kings, lament thrummed, markets headless, effigies hawking. Law theorem set, no immunity sovereign, trial counsel by, economy stabilized, trade bloomed, Versailles dowry reclaimed. What lingers echo when scream fades? Universal patterns emerged from place steel revolution steam, threads woven dynastic blood, revolutionary design in Louis's Versailles, cradle, birthed absolutism, devoured Varennes flights, crimson tide. Kin massacred, Tuileries Eve, perfumed horror in bureaucracy threads spanned Provence scribes, ciphers sharing Louvre ledgers to Robespierre shadowed desks. Ink binding Austrian intrigue Tudors near to. Religion, schism, echoed eternal. His divine right rosary beads, Calvin Geneva hammer mirrored, both pulverizing king's doctrinal stone beneath. Assignats, thundered royalist doom provincial frost from Hebatists, smuggled bulls Loire mists across, faith fire devouring anointed flesh alike, economy wool caravans funded continental wars, lion gold bleeding Valois wars felled regality into recircuited border peace too. Fear choreography danced Holyrood shadows Chartley grills too from Robespierre spies, Bothwell circling retainers, aping. Spectacle theatre spanned Irisrizio, supper, gore scaffold straw, previewing, masks blessing, beds, birthed pyres. Pillars persisted, unyielding. Law performed, bureaucracy severed, religion divided, fear administered silent. Deeper autopsy law, fragility unveiled. Temple trial, no justice forum, domination, stage butt for lips, forgeries, enshrined gospel, as Louis Latin, pleas gagged, commissioners, drone by. Robespierre, silk wept, scripted, quill signed doom, unhesitant yet. Deputies watched, kin kneel, Darnley strutted, as seal, each fractured, sacred blood oath. Precedents twisted eternal, attainder anointing above, council crown above. Courts suspending peer inquests, catalogued poll, flawless now, Magna Carta ghost binding kings, vulgar verdict too. Law served equity, not empire pulse survival, parchment, chill, scripted. Montagnard's affixed seals association, vows to, theorem, proven, no sovereign kneels unscathed. What edifice crumbles, justice quill bows, when marriage, corruption, rooted intimate, Antoinette whispers, prelude Varennes flight to Dauphin baptism chains, chaining temple vaults. Bedchambers birthed, plots caresses interrogations, heirs terror, soil sown in. Deputies whispered annulments, reform veiled as cannon chains, iron than tighter. Womb politic treason, cipher to reduced. Intimacy realm, velvet underbelly, exposed. Paradox, yield, consort lose, throne, defy scaffold, straw, invite. Proposals dukes littered bait as womb, spectral crowns, unborn key to religion. Intertwined desecration papal bulls, unions absolving knocks, anvil damned by body, her alliance coin became, faction battlefield bruises, hidden casket lies fueling. When sacrament spawns regicide, vow endures, what? Bureaucracy, relentless spider-crowned ruin, Convention clerk's temple to threading warrants, seamless Farron's surrender, bull execution scroll to auditors, tallied armory debts, Babington ghosts against, ink, divinity stroke, unmaking by stroke, inexorable. Committee safety filed transcripts, precedent, eternal, under, cross-indexed, Moray Regency, gains 2. No army breached. Enumeration, sufficed petitions, precedent stacks, buried in denials, inertia, throne stamping, Louis plate pawned wardens, funded her, dowry, recircuited James Vane's 2. Scribes judged not, extinction catalogued cost. If paperwork realms unravels, archive rebuilds, what them? Economy, betrayal, tallied grim dividend, deputies profiting, Tuileries vaults raided from Louis Lion, velvets auctioned lairdly steeds, for wolf fleets stabilized postpole. Lion merchants, pyre toll, Tudor, pence against balancing. Subsidies, French choked funded border steel, chained her croft to tithes, Carberry dust mortared. Dice debts, Darnley settled forfeit her in, gold circling womb calculus James Mint 2. Power fiscal veins pumped betrayal, lavish progresses austere keeps, traded for. Frugality grills by enforced tenants paid unchanged masters, new to, coin union stone ceiling. When treasury harvests heads, balance redeems ledger, what? Religion, faction, cauldroned, terminal. Constitutional cures, St. Giles thunder, prefiguring, axe fall, papist masses, sellers fanning, recusant spark in. Priests, smuggled rosaries, contraband. Reformers, hymned harlot foam heaven purge, as divine right clashed Calvin Decrino. Man anoints eternity, sacrament sedition, Kirk Frost under. Jesuits bore bulls, beatifying severed veins. Geneva echoes damned martyr grace. Faith weaponized scaffold underground chapels, icon glow, flickering, Protestant edicts, light prescribing. Pulpits divided aisles eternal, rosary rope anvil, gospel or. If God's author division, altar claims blood whose slavery, silence, mortared pillar, every Tuileries, bondsfolk mopping Rizzio trail. Fothering maids, undressing, spirit blade, mercy for. Servitors ferried coded hems, grills through. Hands steady crucifixes forbidden on. Rags gore, scrubbing, eternal. Lowland cooks, rationed broth, captive king for. Hebridean fishers, salting noble wakes. Polished Bothwell absent irons, they mended veils, scripted grief for. Hierarchy endured lashes, whispers bought, bred silence. Power, unseen spine, bore fracture weight, murmurs propagating cracks veiled. What foundation whispers backs break when? Fear efficiency peaked post-acts. No riot stirred Carberry echo, no roar rose futhering a hall. Terror inward migrated lurds, self-censored, commons ghosts dreamed obedient. Elizabeth Webb vindicated unslain neck. James caught oaths, terror-tuned demanded. Couriers bore doom scrolls, no more. Dread protocol, etched peace. Guards nodded mutual reprieve, silence empire, purest vein. When fear authors hush absolute, voice tests, void, what? Spectacles, governance, etched eternal place, revolution, steam, in scaffold. Theatre, Rizzio, supper, gore, previewed, Darnley orchard corpse, temple scripted surrender. Public masks, beds blessed birthed pyres, progresses dazzled feuds, masking felled realms. Commissioners arrayed audience, divinity poll 2, Shrewsbury, silk weeping, volume measured obedience. Woodcuts hawked foam-flecked lips, Leith stalls, Paris gloom 2, ballads thrumming Queen's lament, tavern hush in. Nobles tallied flinches royal gaze in, applause propping thrones James brow remade in. Crowds cheered Elizabeth unslain neck, silence recusant doubt branding. Gold recircuited Mary's jewels, triumphs funded reborn, harps tuned axe shadows concealing eternal. Chests unison heaved grim, hearts legacies computed spectral. If spectacle berries anointed, curtain crowns void, what climax, civilizational autopsy, converged unyielding. Systems, self-perpetuate ritual sacrifice through pillars, converging madness, not inexorable logic, on Mary Stuart Valois. Sacrament vein became apotheosis, not aberration. Europe's fractured soul, crimson shift, laid bare in power raw, required no. Registry whispers through divinity, unmake, sufficed. Law theorem performed flawless, attainder, trumping anointing blood. Bureaucracy, spiderwove, seamless cradle, betrothal, scaffold straw, 2. Ink severing crowns, stroke inexorable by stroke. Economy, betrayal, dividend, harvested eternal. Wool fleets, sailing Pyrash, Union pence, over to religion, cauldron, divided, mortared yet knocks anvil, claiming no queen, eternity. Jesuits, beatifying severed grace. Slavery, unseen spine, bore fracture every. Silence, mortar, binding isles anew. Fear hush, absolute, administered, inward migrating, self-censorship, throned, marriage chains, spawned, regicide, birthed, James Linette, womb, calculus settling, spectral claims. Spectacle scripted, obedience decibels, in applause, empire, pulse, undying. Downfall, mob fury, not blade, passion, in unfolded. Quiet, bureaucratic, symphony buttstar, chamber gloom, seals, affixed in signatures, fothering transcripts, drying over. No army grills breached. Enumeration extinction catalogued flawless. Warrants Privy Council circulated breathlike. Elizabeth hovering quill pause, Providence before the paulet. Mercy sacraments starved, inevitable hasten to. Philippe's forgeries enshrining Babington ghosts, gospel as Kirkhofield blast providential mischance, deemed casket letters, poems, twisting treason writ to. Lochleven, I'll surrender, quillaged lantern flicker, under Carberry dust, army, mute array, witnessing. Bureaucracy souls, judged not. Falls index petitions, precedent stacks, buried eternal, in denials, inertia, apotheosis, stamping. Scribes, cross-referenced, Rizzio debts, execution costs, 2, straw dowry footnotes, reclaimed 2. If paperwork realms unravels steel without, archive blood ink, rebuilds what aftermath philosophy incarnate proved. James VI, chaos not inherited. Pillars realigned, Scottish Regency missed, dissolved, like revenue's southbound conjoined crowns 2. Peterborough-led coffin, Marie Stuart stamped, slumbered railings, Catholic ire shattered by, relic gunpowder shadows igniting. Economy, Anglo-Scottish veins bloomed unraided, Leith gold minting, Union coin, her forfeit from law, precedent, bound, Empress's council, quill, perpetual to, Magna Carta, ghost-wielding, attainder, divine right, over. Religion, schismed, endured yet papal bulls, beatified foam-flecked lips, Protestant hymns, harlot pole, damning heaven purge, as fear-web vindicated unslain Tudor neck, self-censorship, pox, purest vein. Slavery, bondsfolk, gore, scrubbed, eternal hands, crucifixes, forbidden steady on. Marriage realigned Denmark Annin, womb Protestant eternity securing. Spectacle broadsheets echoed markets, hawked, headless effigies, moral play reborn. Prophetic clarity veil pierced unsparing, realms pillars erected law theatre. Faith, faction, bureaucracy, web, economy, betrayal, slavery, silence, fear protocol, spectacle, raw, andivore, anointed ambition, ledger line fractures when modern dominions axiom behold undimmed. Thrones, assemblies, algorithms yield to alike, pillars persist inexorable yet. Council screens attainder perform, now parchment not. Scribes, surveillance, silicon veins encode in bull fleets, data streams, sale funding, digital pyres. Knocks, thunder, viral sermons, echoes in. Jesuits' firewalls, shadowed code, smuggle through. Wombs, politic genetic ciphers, reduced to heirs. Dynastic spreadsheets, computed in fear. Feeds migrates to self-censorship, scrolling infinite. Gold velvet dowries, venture ledgers, 2 circles from betrayal, dividend eternal. Systems, self-correct sacrifice, veiled through queens. CEO's anointed fall seems split when no chaos required. Enumeration suffices. Frost-bitten beams every futhering awaits. Scaffolds, code straw, not draped in mercy empire lie, remains blade before digital steel, all falls true. Mary Queen not washy, mirror a was. The final fibers of revolution wove their cruel tapestry in Parisian dawn's glimmer. Spectral threads knitting history's loom. Louis XVI, once King of France, became spectre not of glory but of machination, caged within legalese, gnawing at divine right. Trial transcripts reverberated a litany of Varen's betrayal. Treasonous intent inked in committee shadows, speeches echoing Enlightenment's fractured promise. The sovereign's plea, resolute yet forsaken, echoed in memory stillness. Each courtroom gaze a verdict, each signature a noose, law a spectacle unfolding with merciless precision. Did justice perish beneath sword and quill alike? Marriage, the fragile pillar, Fractured beneath public scrutiny, Marie Antoinette, vilified and caged, bore shame not alone but as emblem of regime's decay. Their union, once dynastic alliance, hollowed by scandal's corrosive breath, intimacy turned theatre of accusation. Motherhood politicized in pamphlets and rumor. The Dauphin's fate, tethered to throne's demise, shadowed by whispers of bloodline's vulnerability. Their private lives dissected beneath guillotine's inexorable gaze, a realm where personal met political in final crucible. What marriage endures when nations rise to judge? Bureaucracy, the empire's unseen hand, chronicled downfall in ink and ledger. Royal coffers, emptied as assignats devalued. Tax ledgers bore peasant despair, while Versailles shone hollow. Warrants, stamped and sealed, authorized arrest and exile. Petitions climbed bureaucratic ladders only to vanish. Clerks became unwilling archivists of collapse, their pens writing sovereignty's epitaph. When the state's machinery grinds autocracy to dust, who records survival? Economy bled as gold fled to fund strife. Famine stalked cities, bread riots flared like tinder to flame. Versailles opulence became distant echo against squalor's advance. Financiers speculated on kingdom's fall, nobles feasted on debts unpaid. Fiscal policies mapped decline with brutal arithmetic, prosperity for few, hunger for many. Could wealth built on starvation endure revolution's reckoning? Religion fractured, altar replaced by scaffold. Priests split between loyalty and survival, sermons turning from God to republic. Divine right crumbled under secular tides. Confessionals emptied as executions multiplied. Faith became weapon, solace drowned in political ire. What God claims throne after its fall? Slavery's silent backbone bore witness. Palace servants mumbled prayers behind closed doors, their eyes recording every whispered fear. In kitchens and corridors, their labor sustained grand decay, their silence purchased with threat and bread. They are ghosts in revolution's shadow, their stories lost amid history's roar. Does empire survive on the whispered complicity of the unseen? Fear, an omnipresent spectre, ruled hidden chambers and public squares alike. Secret police lists grew. Informants lurked in shadows. Every whisper was weaponized. Louis's footsteps echoed in corridors heavy with surveillance. Paranoia institutionalized as governance. Obedience born of terror spread like wildfire. When fear is foundation, what becomes of liberty? Spectacle remained last bastion. Public executions transformed into grim theater, crowds oscillating between horror and fascination. Louis's final walker, somber procession, bearing both king and man played on history's stage. The guillotine's shadow looming. Power naked before the mob, dignity stripped by steel and spectacle. What remains when rulers fall amid cheers and silence? The system closed its chapters with chilling finality, a king's calm walk distilled to a brutal death. A monarchy's end etched in blood and ambition. In those last hours, the paradox of power unveiled. Absolute rule surrendered not in warfare, but in legal decrees, not in cries, but in silence. The blade severed crown from flesh, but history bound them eternally. What reflections remain when kings meet their mortality on the scaffold's edge? Climax of analysis demanded reckoning, unsparing. Systems self-correct through anointed sacrifice. Pillars converging not on chaos, but logic inexorable. Louis XVI, Bourbon sacrament of Versailles. Absolutism became apotheosis, not tyrant aberration, but France's fractured soul laid bare in tumbril sway. Power required no roar. Whispers through convention, quill sufficed divinity to unmake. Law performed theorem, flawless, attainder, trumping, anointing blood. Bureaucracy, spider wove, seamless cradle, Versailles, to scaffold place, revolution, ink, severing crowns, stroke by inexorable stroke. Economy, betrayal, dividend harvested, eternal, assignats, sailing, barrage, terror, pence over to religion, cauldron, divided, mortared, yet treason anvil, claiming no king's eternity. Refractories, beatifying, severed grace. Slavery, unseen spine, bore every fracture. Silence, mortar-binding provinces anew. Fear, hush, absolute, administered, inward migrating self-censorship tribunal to marriage chains, spawned Varen's flight, birthed Dauphin porn, yet womb calculus settling spectral claims. Spectacle scripted obedience decibels in applause, republic pulse undying. Downfall unfolded, not mob fury or blade passion in quiet bureaucratic symphony, but committee. Safety gloom, seals affixed, in signatures, temple transcripts, drying over. No army grills breached. Enumeration, extinction, catalogued flawless. Warrants Montagnard desks, circulated breath-like. Robespierre hovering quill pours provenance before the Sanson mercy blade honed inevitable hastened to. Forged testimonies enshrining Veron's ghost's gospel as armory raid deemed people's justice. Witness perjuries, twisting pleas, treason writ too. Temple vault surrender, quill-etched lantern flicker under. Convention dust army mute array witnessing. Bureaucracy, souls judged not. Falls and expeditions precedent stacks buried eternal in denial's inertia apotheosis stamping. Scribes cross-referenced fiscal debts execution costs too. Straw assignate footnotes reclaimed too. If paperwork realms unravels steel without, archive blood ink rebuilds what aftermath philosophy incarnate proved. Republic chaos not inherited. Pillars, real indici, regency mist, dissolved like revenues, provincial, conjoined terror, too. Madeleine, Limpet, Louis Capit, anonymous slumbered railings, sansculotte ire shattered by. Relic Vendée shadows igniting. Economy French veins bloomed unraided. Lion gold minting terror coin his forfeit from law precedent. Bound sovereign's council, quill perpetual, too. Declaration rights ghost wielding, attained a divine right over religion. Schismed endured yet papal bulls, beatified cooed hair lips. Dechristianizer, hymns, harlot, pole damning heaven, purge as fear web vindicated, unslain republican neck. Self-censorship, terror, purest vein. Slavery, bondsfolk, gore-scrubbed, eternal. Hands, crucifixes, forbidden steady on. Marriage, realigned, faction, porn in. Womb reason, eternity, securing. Spectacle broadsheets, echoed markets, hawked. Headless effigies, moral play, reborn. Prophetic clarity, veil pierced unsparing. Realms pillars, erected law theatre. Faith, faction, bureaucracy, web, economy, betrayal. Slavery, silence, fear protocol. Spectacle raw and devour, anointed ambition ledger, line fractures, when modern republics axiom behold undimmed. Thrones, conventions, algorithms yield to alike. Pillars persist inexorable yet. Assemblies screens attainder, perform now parchment, not scribes, surveillance silicon veins, encode in wool fleets data streams, sale funding digital pyres. Cure thunder, viral sermons echoes in refractories. Firewalls shadowed code, smuggle through. Wombs, politic, genetic ciphers reduced to heirs. Dynastic spreadsheets computed in. Fear feeds migrates to. Self-censorship, scrolling infinite. Gold, Versailles, dowries, venture ledgers, two circles from. Betrayal, dividend eternal. Systems, self-correct, sacrifice, veiled through kings. CEOs anointed fall, seems split when. No chaos required. Enumeration suffices. Leaden skies every place revolution await. Scaffolds, code straw, not draped in. Mercy republic lie remains blade before digital steel, or falls true. Louis was not a king. He was a mirror.